Going live here in about 7 minutes at noon Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be our first time doing an AMA style. We're using Zoom live chat today. So you're going to be coming on camera to ask a question. It'll be a little bit different format. You'll be able to ask a question or a series of questions over 5 to 10 minutes, one-on-one with me. So if anybody watching this on the YouTube stream, if you're an Amazon seller, you sell $25,000 or more a month, click on that Zoom link. We've got that blasted all over the place. We've got about 20 people in queue right now to ask questions, and we'll go from there, starting here in about 5 minutes. Starting here in about 5 minutes. Join us on Zoom if you're a seller and want to ask us questions.
Steven.
Hey, Jeff, you're going to be our first guest testing this out today.
This is awesome. I love that you're doing this.
Yeah, it's the first time we're testing this out. So a few bugs and kinks. We'll see how this goes. We're actually live right now, just as a heads up.
Okay, no problem.
And so our scheduled time to go live here is in 3 minutes, but you're here. Excited to talk to you, Jeff.
Yeah, me too.
Tell me about these Star Wars items behind you while we're kind of queuing people up.
Well, I've got Star Wars. I've got Batman, Superman. My son is a huge fan of Warhammer 40K. So he builds these models. And I mean, he's got a ton of them. He even built me a Warhammer F1 car out of spare parts.
Wow. Spare parts, cars. That's the future right there.
We're nerds. What can I tell you? I know you are too. So
that's awesome, Jeff. Yes, I need more Star Wars merchandise in my background. There's no doubt about that.
I think we all do.
So we're going to start in a couple minutes. Everybody that's joining us, if you're a seller and you want to ask questions, please join the Zoom link. We're going to have a main queue room. It'll be a little chaotic over there. I've got 2 assistants helping me out today. In the main queue room, you're going to post your question in the chat. And then one of my assistants will move you to the get ready room, if you will. Let's see, they named them queuing room and main hall. So the queuing room is like being on deck to go on the air with us, and then we'll bring you in. So we're going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes with each seller. We'll see how the interest goes. This is, the first time we've ever done something like this. I expect a few bugs, but so far we're live and looking good. So we're going to go ahead and start a couple minutes early. So Jeff, you're our first guest, our first seller, and I know you do some other things besides that. Can you just introduce yourself here?
Yeah, I've been with Amazon. I've been working on Amazon for 14 years with various different brands directly. And then I also have a very small one-person agency where I have 6 direct clients, and I also do some contract work for some Amazon agencies.
Great. All right. So Jeff is one of our super fans. He has asked us, 100 questions over on YouTube, LinkedIn, and everywhere in between. So that's why we decided to have Jeff be our starter guest. And to do this, we knew he would be willing to help us out. So thanks for coming on, Jeff. So Jeff, what is your question?
Well, let me just start out by saying my specialty is helping brands with SEO, detailed page optimization, A+, blah, blah, blah. But that's almost none of my time anymore. Most of my time is spent dealing with the nightmares of seller support, of issues that randomly.
Don't worry, they're going to fix it.
Yeah, they're going to fix it.
That's what they said at Accelerate. They're going to fix Amazon seller support. It's the only thing I want for Christmas is fix seller support.
Oh my gosh. I get up every morning and the very first thought in my head is, what did Amazon screw up today? And what am I going to do to fix it? And they never disappoint. It's all I get to my desk and it's like, are you kidding me? This is worse than the last one. So, I guess the question for you, for other sellers, for brands, for agencies, this has got to get fixed because it's killing brands. It's putting people out of jobs. What can we do as a group to address the seller support and just random issues that Amazon throws in your face?
I don't know if there is anything that we could do as a collective group, because quite frankly, we're doing quite a bit right now, right? Like, I'm calling Amazon a liar on the air. I'm posting memes left and right.
Yeah.
We're all sending emails to seller support. We're escalating to Jeff@Amazon.com. But then I'll go to a sell and scale. We lost Jeff here. Let's get Jeff back in. So we'll have Jeff back in here in a second. But what has happened is I'll go to a conference like Sell and Scale, and I'll run into a guy and he's like, yeah, I'm being put in charge of seller support to fix it. And I'm like, cool. Do you know that GS1 UPC codes are a complete nightmare right now? And he's like, no, never heard of this. And I'm like, how is that even possible? How is it even possible that Amazon doesn't know what the problem is? It blows my mind. I have no idea what happened for Amazon to do that. But essentially, you would think that everybody knows about Jeff@Amazon.com emails, right? And it's a seller escalations email thread. They had call centers in the Philippines, and they got rid of those like 3 to 4 months. Welcome back, Jeff. I'm not sure if we accidentally moved you.
I believe it was Amazon that kicked me out.
It was probably seller support trying to fix your problem. Hey, I need to change my title. Oh, sorry, I yanked your listing.
Yeah.
Here's the lost dogs of Amazon. You know, Amazon's so obsessed with dogs. You see the lost dogs everywhere, right? Like they've got 6-month waiting times to get your dog at the Seattle office shot. And it feels like your listing is getting shot pretty much.
That's why I switched to cats now.
There you go. There you go. So I don't think there is a real powerful answer that I can give on like how we can collectively get Amazon seller support fixed. We're doing everything correct right now, in my opinion. We're going out of our way to basically create awareness, right? So here's the problem. The left hand at Amazon doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Right. They do not communicate. They do not have the same metrics. They do not have the same goals, and they do not work together. And so what happens is something like GS1 and the UPC issue where Amazon's like, hey, we're going to make a policy change. So this is the left hand over here, right? And they're like, you must have a GS1 barcode.
Right.
And then on the right is the seller. And the seller's like, okay, sure, no problem. How do I do it? You must have a GS1 barcode. And that's all the left hand is saying. And the seller's like, well, okay, I get it. But how, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've got listings that are 5 years old. What do I do about them? You must have GS1 barcode. And they just keep repeating it and repeating it. And then what happens is one day your listing gets yanked, right? And it's not the seller's fault for trying to follow the rules, because right. the rules are a moving target.
Mm-hmm.
And also the ability for the seller to become compliant doesn't exist. There is no path to success. And they had years to figure this out.
Yeah.
Years.
Well, the other thing
I
found, Stephen, is they don't even follow their own guidelines. They'll come up with a guideline and then they won't follow it. They have terms of service. I'll read the terms of service and I'll go, there's nothing I'm doing that's against terms of service. And then I'll talk to seller support and they'll go, yeah, you're against the guidelines in terms of service. What?
Yeah. Here's my copy paste to answer tier 1 seller support copy pasta. Good luck.
Right.
Oh, I'm really sorry to inform you. Here's a block of text that's useless to read. Like, seriously, here's how I would fix Amazon seller support. I would say, sorry, can't help. That would be my response. Or, sorry, I don't know how to help you. Or, here's what you should do next.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
And to end this, I would have to say that you and I have talked before about the hierarchy of contacting seller support. Start here. Don't get an answer because you're not going to. Go to the next level, then the next level, the next level. The Jeff@Amazon.com email does sometimes work. But you have to start at the bottom and you have to follow the hierarchy all the way up. You can't jump to opening a seller case to contacting Jeff Bezos. You've got to follow the steps in between. I think you did a meme on that as well. And I would like to tell everybody, don't jump steps, follow the procedure so you can show you've done all the things they've asked you to do.
I'm trying to find my hierarchy post, but couldn't get it on the fly here. Well, Jeff, it was great having you on today. Thanks for all of the questions you post on our channel. So up next is going to be James. Send them on in. Jeff, thanks again. Love the Star Wars stuff. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes with each person. I see Edgar in here. Edgar, looking forward to your question as well. Super fan and current client, Edgar. But we're going to start with James next. So go ahead and pull. Well, Edgar's in the room, so we don't have James. Let's go to Edgar. Edgar, it's good to see you.
Hi,
live in the
you
flesh.
doing, Steven?
Oh man, I met you in Vegas. It was just great to meet you and your daughter. So it's great to see you again.
Ready for a question?
Let's do it.
I have a budget that I can have decided I can put 2 ways. Either I can increase my PPC or I can invest that in videos and upgrading, that sort of thing. Which would you prefer?
So George, we're going to come to you next. We put Edgar in line. Sorry about that. So Edgar, so this is a budget question. Where should I put my money? PPC or SEO? Was that the summary? Okay.
Yes.
You need both. So you need both. But if you put a gun to my head and said, pick one, it would be dependent on variables, right? So if you had $500 and you only had $500, it would probably make more sense to do SEO. If you had $50,000 and you had to pick between PPC and SEO, I would put, and you literally couldn't put a dime in one, you had to pick one of the, I'd go PPC, right? So this is why it's a dependent question. But tell me, with budget constraints, you've got a Christmas oriented product that just takes off. And so like right now is probably your biggest cash crunch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And about maybe 1/3 of my sales for the year come in November and December. And I'm trying to ramp up the PPC. But when I do that, I hear from the SEO people say, well, hey, we need more videos, we need more content. And so I'm kind of teetering between the two.
Well, I think if we look at Amazon from a 4-pillar standpoint, right? So you've got traffic generation in the form of SEO and PPC, which is what you asked about. And then in the other 2 pillars, we've got design and catalog merchandising. Right. And so if you don't do all 4 of those, you're going to have a challenge. So the question is how do we balance all of these competing priorities as an Amazon seller? Because it is kind of confusing, right? Right. And it's a lot of work. And quite frankly, I know at your place, you're like, well, I just got to focus on getting my inventory shipped.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, how do I, and just so you guys know, Edgar's a client at my Amazon guy. And so we help him run the SEO and the PPC and some of the merchandising stuff. And thank you for being a client, by the way.
Thank you, Steven.
So in terms of budgetary, if conversion is low, pull the PPC back, but keep in mind it's a death spiral, right? Every PPC sale you get gets you 3 organic sales over time. Also, the PPC sales generate keyword rankings. And so if you pull back too much on a key area like PPC, you're going to see some major impact. So that's why I'm an always be advertising guy. So don't do cold turkey, whatever you do. But if you have to pull it back 10, 20% at a time and see what happens.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any follow-up question? We're going to have George come in next here. So let's get George coming on in. But Edgar, any follow-up question?
No, I'm good for right now.
Edgar, it's so great to see you, man. I'm glad you're healthy.
Yeah.
You look good.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. All right. So we're looking for George next, pulling George in. So Edgar is such a great guy and such an energy around him. It's been pleasurable to work with him. I think it's like 15 months we've been doing business together. George is missing. So let's go to the next, send the next guest in. And so I'm just excited to do this format today. We've never done this before. We're going to be talking to sellers live and answering their questions. So we have about 26 people in queue who have a question joining us on our Zoom. If you're an Amazon seller and you're joining the slate, you can still get in on the action. Click on the Zoom link in the chat and in the comments and the descriptions, and you can get your question queued on up. So looking forward to this. I have been selling on Amazon for almost a decade now, and I did most of my work. Hey, there's George coming on in. So let's have George start your video and get your question queued up here. Welcome, George.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you coming in. So George, what's your question? How can I help today?
So here's my question, Steve. About 6 weeks ago, I woke up and I found out that all 25 of my Amazon Choice badges were gone. In fact, they were assigned to keywords that would not convert as well as my product, and they just seemed like they were scattered among the category. I can't tell you what I did incorrectly. Reviews were trending just as good as they are. My BSR did not drop. I have had no issues with my NIC score. So I'm clueless on this one, and I'm hoping maybe you know something a little bit more than I do here on how to get them back, or maybe what I did wrong.
Is this for one single product or 25 products?
So 25 Amazon Choices badges were assigned to this one ASIN.
Okay. And are you tracking? It's entirely possible.
So your question was, I guess, am I tracking this? Yes, I'm using Helium 10.
All right. So Amazon's Choice badges. Here's the good news. They are not as impactful as many, many other things can be. And so if you guys have the ability to have a new release badge or #1 ranked badge, you're going to be in a lot better shape. And so I would be curious to see like why those all disappeared. So if you have your Helium 10 tracking and you see all the report with that, then you'd be able to understand like when they came and when they left, right? So you look at the Cerebral report. Are you tracking the keywords in the keyword tracker?
Yeah, we're tracking all these keywords. And why I say 25 is because we have an aggressive keyword list. It's not just 25 core keywords. We are tracking as many relevant keywords as we know we convert for. So, for example, an Amazon Choice badge assigned to something that has a search volume of 500, we were winning some of those too.
Got it. And did the keyword rankings also go down during this time?
They didn't. My organic rank still remains in positions 1 through 3 on all of those keywords. So
you didn't lose keyword rankings, but you just lost Amazon's badge. Okay.
Yeah, but I will tell you, we have lost sales. The product is down since we've lost those badges. I don't know if it's just a coincidence because the BSR score still remains fairly high. We dropped from a position of 12 to about 18 or 19, but that's a pretty significant delta in that range of lost sales, about 1,000 units a month. So I'm concerned everything else is going to start falling soon.
Can you, are you willing to share like on screen what the item is? I know you may not want to do that.
Yeah, that's something I really don't want to share at the moment because it is one of those really sort of competitive niches, and I don't want anyone to sort of get any trade secrets here.
I totally understand. So I want to look at the data. So it's probably not a good time to do that then. But I've never heard of somebody just going from 25 to no Amazon's Choice badges. So it's got to be an unusual event of some kind.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I've been in the space for a long time. I've been selling on Amazon for 15 years, actually. I've never seen anything like that. But I did go to the seller forum, and there are a couple of people who are sort of saying, hey, what happened to all my Amazon Choice badges? A similar story. However, it wasn't around the same time frame of mid-August. It was a year ago, and I think another one was like 2 years ago. So that's the first I've ever seen it, and the only reason I even thought of it is because it happened to me.
Well, I'm looking at my listing right now, and so here's kind of what I'm going to share my screen. So here's what an Amazon's Choice badge can look like. right? So we've got incense by Age of Sage. You got the Amazon's Choice badge right there. And so I don't know how much the consumer looks at this or how much this influences, but sellers perceive this as having value, right? There's also the local business badge right here. And you can also get the small seller, small business badges and other badges. The good news is that primarily the one thing that sellers really do have control of is their main image, their price, and all of the optimization things. And so what I would do if I were in your shoes, George, is just go into your listing and really just try and focus on those optimizations to try and make sure that everything is up to snuff, is up to par, and in good shape.
Makes sense, Steve.
So I don't know. I've never heard of Amazon's Choice badges disappearing, but if anybody else has watching this, we'd love to hear any of your feedback, or maybe it's happened to you too. Maybe there's other people that are having that. All right. So with that, we'll go to our next guest. George, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. Okay, so we're going to look into the queue here. Send our next guest on in. And on our channel, let's look at some of our questions we've seen in the chat. So I'm going to the chat while we wait for our next guest. So Tasho says, I lost my buy box because I have changed my listing price by mistake, and I haven't reverted it after 8 hours, but I'm still not getting the buy box. Is there any way to get it back as soon as possible? So if you have the price go lower off of the Amazon channel than it is on Amazon, that can get your listing suppressed and can have a challenge with that. And so that can be a challenge. You can also see your buy box get lost if you don't have all of the rules followed. If you have a seller issue where they've got a metric problem, things like that can have an issue as well. All right, Andres, are you our next guest? Let's go ahead and have you share camera and come on screen for us.
Hey there.
Welcome.
How are you?
Welcome to our experiment today. So what is your question?
I have
No te oigo.
un segundito. I have an ASIN that it's brand registered.
Ya no te oigo.
It's brand
No te oigo.
registered. And we got a hijacker on it, some seller from China. The brand
¿Me estás hablando?
is registered, but it is a European
no te oigo.
trademark. It's not.
Can you mute the secondary background?
No te oigo.
Sorry
There you go.
about that.
Thanks. No
Sorry
problem.
about that. The ASIN is brand registered. The trademark is registered in Europe, and we're selling it here, and we brand registered it here, but it's not in USPTO. So I try to go to Amazon and tell them that the product that's being sold is not our product. I bought a test product to get it, and they said that it's not their problem. And when I try to report a violation, like it's not registered with the USPTO, it's giving me an issue and I can't report them. So I'm having this issue, and I don't know, maybe you know how to help me.
Okay, so I need a little bit more context. So you have a USPTO issue, is that correct?
Well, I don't know, it's a hijacking issue. I mean,
Okay.
I've been selling this brand, it's something made in Spain, and we have the representation for the US. We were the ones that brand registered it here in with Amazon, using a European trademark. The trademark was done in Europe, and
Got it.
Amazon accepts it. When I try to do the report of violation, because I bought a product from this company, and it's not the same product that I'm selling, but they're selling in my listing, Amazon is not being able to do anything about it. So I'm trying to figure out how can I get these people off my listing.
Okay, so do you have it brand registered?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Have you made a purchase of the item?
Yes, I have.
And it's an illegitimate item, correct?
Yeah, it's not my item.
Okay. Have you filed the brand registry takedown?
I've been trying to, but it asks me when I try to report the violation, it's asking me what is the trademark number. And when I input the trademark number from Europe, it's not accepting it because it's telling me that we're selling in Amazon US and I need a USPTO trademark number.
That makes perfect sense. Now I understand it. Okay, so can you file a USPTO trademark?
I just called the European company and they told me that I should go ahead and proceed to file a USPTO with them to get that in the USPTO.
So the challenge that we've seen is in the past, like 2 years ago, if you had a trademark somewhere, you had the ability to go ahead and file these takedowns without the local trademark. Unfortunately, without the local country, they stopped accepting the hijacker removals. So your next step with 100% certainty is to get the US trademark. Now, here's the downside. You're going to file that trademark. You can get it brand registered in under 7 days with the USPTO, right? And we filed over 1,200 trademarks at my Amazon guy. But the trademark will not be usable for specifically taking down a hijacker for like 6 months until it goes on the principal registry. So because of that, I recommend you file repeated takedowns, even though it probably won't work. Just file them on the weekend, file them at different times, file them at all kinds of other things that you guys can do, and make sure that you have the tenacity to keep filing the takedowns, right? Send and file complaints on both the seller and the buyer accounts.
Perfect.
So on your buyer account, contact the seller. Hey, this is an illegitimate item. This is not the correct item. And then tell them you want a refund and tell them you want to file for abuse and do this on the buyer end is probably gonna be more successful than the seller.
Got it.
But realistically, without a US trademark, removing a US hijacker is a very, very difficult task. So we know what your next step is. We have a negative prognosis, but it is possible if you leverage the buyer angle. I think you're going to have the most success there.
When you say the buyer angle, that means I should
From
buy
the buyer
a
account.
Should it be the same account as my seller account or just like
Doesn't
a different person? Doesn't matter. Okay.
Doesn't matter. I file things on my personal account all the time. My personal account's connected to sellers. It's highly effective. We had this issue, especially on our Age of Sage smudge kits. And so these products right here, somebody would show up and then the Age of Sage box, when we put it into the main photo, really helped us prevent them. So if you haven't got packaging in the main photo, I highly recommend that. That was a really big win for us.
Right.
But other than that, you don't have a lot of leverage in this situation, unfortunately.
Okay. Sounds good. I appreciate your help.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it, Andres. Thanks for everything. We'll see you next time. So we got our next guest coming in. Hammad, how are you, my friend?
How are you, Stephen?
I'm doing good. How can I help today?
Okay, my question is regarding PPC, that how we can run on low ticket products, because when I'm doing PPC on having better SEO, all the stuff we have, I have best brand A plus content, everything, but when I run hard on PPC, so my account gets negative, and when I lower the bids or something else, so of course the sales get down. So how you can advise me that I can run on optimize with the PPC that
So tell me about your PPC budget. How much are you spending per month?
around $1,000 to $1,500.
Okay. And the gross sales on the account, how much is that per month?
Okay. Actually, when I'm checking the search query for performance, it's a pyramid. So it's get better and better. I'm still spending less, but when I hit on it, so my cost gets a lot, and that's hit on my.
So tell me the dollars that you're making on the account. So like, are you doing $10,000 a month or that kind of figure?
No, actually, I'm on break even right now.
Okay, so break even. So you're putting 1,500 into PPC and 1,500 in sales.
Yes.
Okay. So that can be difficult to pull off with a small budget like that. So I would say you probably need to do more listing optimization to affect the PPC,
Sure.
right? So you need to have really strong listing graphics, really strong main image, lower the price as much as you can to try and get unit counts up. And then you said you had some high ACoS issues and you're trying to figure out what to do with those.
Yes.
Okay, so few PPC tips that I can give. You can make sure you negate bad keywords off the auto campaigns and review the search term report. So are you currently doing that?
No, I'm not. I'm just going with exact match right now.
Okay, that's the biggest challenge right there. We just found a really big win. So exact match keywords have the highest cost and you have a low budget. So most of your budget needs to move out of exact match and it needs to move into the other types of campaigns. So you need to have, and I'm going to see if I can pull up an opportunity to kind of review what I'm talking about here. But like I have a PPC campaign. I'm going to show my actual numbers here.
Sure.
So this is my account, last 65 days. I've spent 37,000 in ads, 65K back in sales. It's a little bit higher than I'm comfortable ACoS at 58% here. But we do it because we're launching a bunch of products and we believe or kind of hope that the Christmas rush will make up for some of our investment here. So with that in mind, if we go into an auto campaign and we look at some of this data, right? So here is a broad match and here's an auto. So if let's go into my auto campaign for this men's soap. And in here, I've got 3,500 in spend. And I'm going to go into the ad group. And the point I'm trying to make is auto campaigns are awesome, right? Like people need to be doing them. A lot of people think, oh, you start with auto and then you turn it off, or you start with auto and you negate a good keyword and you move it over to exact match. And that's not the case. You need to keep them on in perpetuity. So in here, this is the search term report. Here is how you optimize on a low budget. You set up an auto campaign and then you negate keywords that don't work. You come in here once a week on the search term report and you look for things that have a low production, right? So here's Dr. Squatch soap. By the way, here, let's show you the product so you guys understand what I'm doing here. So this is the Macho soap. And this product right here, it's a men's soap item. Dr. Squatch owns the market. I am advertising on their brand term, and I've got a 32% ACoS, which beats my average of 58%. So people, I sell the exact same soap as Dr. Squatch, it's just packaged differently. So with that in mind, I know that this is a good keyword. This is the sort of keyword that I should make a new campaign on. I should use auto, but I should come back and allow that as well. So I'm actually going to create a new campaign here. We probably actually haven't advertised on purpose for Dr. Squatch soap brand terms, and we probably should have, right? So that's like a missed opportunity here. All right, so let's look at the variations. So men's soap, let's see if we can find the product. It's not pulling up for some reason. So we're going to grab the ASIN manually, and we're going to type in the ASIN, going to add it. I'm going to do both variations. I got a merchant fulfilled and an FBA SKU, so I always add both. We're going to do manual targeting, keyword targeting, and we're going to come down to this list here, and we're going to do a phrase match for Dr. Squatch. And I think, and we can verify this, we could type in Dr. Squatch into Amazon and see what comes up. So almost everything comes up with their soap related products. But then, so the question is how many people are typing in Dr. Squatch versus Dr. Squatch soap? That would be the better ACoS. I know that the ACoS will be better on the soap, but I bet I'll have more impressions on Dr. Squatch. So I'm going to add both, and I'm going to do a phrase match on this campaign. You can look at the PPC bids significantly higher there, which is kind of interesting, right? And I don't want to go that high, so I'm going to pull it down and hit save on this, and I'm going to launch that campaign. So here's an example. I think I have to type the campaign name in. Here we go. And I got to set the daily budget. So we're going to put that at $50. So here's an example of, I made that campaign, but guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this keyword alone. This keyword's great. There's nothing wrong with this keyword. So we're going to leave that keyword alone, and it's going to be fine. But I'm probably going to have a lower ACoS, at 20 orders on this at 32% on the auto campaign is going to produce better. So you have a low budget. Auto campaigns are 100% what you guys need to do, 100% what you should focus on.
Sure.
So other than that, so I just gave you a great tip, did a demo here, auto campaigns, search terms, and pull away from exact match. Phrase is going to be better. Broad is going to be better. Auto is going to be your best. That's where you need to spend your money. So Hammad, was that helpful?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Any follow-up questions there?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see. Let's see if we got some questions on YouTube while I wait for our next guest. So I'm going over to our YouTube channel. So Sal says, can't join Zoom because I'm at work. No problem. We'll get you next time. Rudy says they're from Houston, Texas. Gregor says, if a customer is buying 2 different products from our Amazon store, is it okay for him to leave a review for each product? Yes, but generally speaking, you'll have challenges with that. Generally speaking, you have more people causing review generation problems, and that won't go well, unfortunately. And it looks like we are out of guests today. So this was a nice trial run. I'm going to clear the chat. I'm going to read a couple of chat questions, and we're going to do this again next week. It was a rocky first start today. And if you joined us earlier today, you know why. Grigor says, okay, we did that one. Becca says, part 1 account level reserve concern, selling 6 years, 96% seller rating. Gave us some additional stats. Converse with CS to no avail. I'm not sure I understand the question on this one, Becca. I'm looking through it. Reached out to other sellers. They're seeing, a reserve balance question. Okay, so what am I missing? That's a huge amount that they're keeping in reserve for you. I would escalate that one as much as you possibly can, Becca. That's crazy. Hey, Martin, how are you doing? We'll ask to unmute you here. Martin, what's your question? Once you get unmuted here.
Well, you know what? If you don't mind, I'd just like to listen into all the experience right now, and I'm sure I'll come up with some questions.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Well, Martin is high and by, but feel free to watch on YouTube here. All right, so let's move Martin back out. So anybody, assistants, if we have anybody left in the questions queue, pop them on over. Back to Becca's reserve question. If you have too much money hanging out in reserve, I would escalate in Amazon and to find out why they're holding more in reserve than you think is necessary, and just hold their feet to the fire. I'll be honest though, I don't have a lot of success in getting the reserve mounts lowered down, unfortunately. Day You Vegan, thank you for the donation today. I super appreciate it. Edwin says, been dealing with Amazon issue for a week now. They fixed the main issue, then suppressed my listing. So frustrating. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Sorry to hear about that. That's like Amazon seller support. That was when we talked earlier today with Jeff. Crazy amount of things. Okay. Third-party sellers union. Yeah, there's lot of momentum coming behind that. All right, I think we're going to end the show there. Thanks for watching today. Trial run. We had a lot of good people coming on camera. It was fun to meet some of you. I want to do this again next time. So if you're watching this on the replay, we'll send out a notice in advance on how to join. We'll put out a webinar so we don't have any other hiccups like we had today. And you'll be able to ask a question in the Zoom chat. Basically say, hey, here's what I want to talk to Steven about. My assistants will put you in a waiting room, and then you'll be put up on deck to ask a question live with me. So that is our session today. Thanks for watching. My name is Steven Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and it's a pleasure